All right. For folks who live on chain, this is Jalil with your typical Speculate TV weekend update. So, this week, nothing really went on. The Bitcoin ETF has basically been dead on arrival. Not much is going on in terms of new buyers. Let's actually take a look. Let's take a look at the markets here. I got a pretty good list of stuff to actually check out, and let's get started with it. So, first things up, as I said, the week is pretty boring. Nothing's going on. The Bitcoin ETF, it looks like most of the flows are outflows. There really hasn't been a ton of new money coming in. I think it's pretty unfortunate because a lot of the ETF speculators thought that, hey, just because the ETF would exist, that means that it would generate tons of inflows and push up the prices. So far, that just has been false, and I think it's a good learning lesson for everyone that ETFs don't actually mean prices go up. What it really means is it's easier for people who might be passively interested to execute a strategy. These sorts of things are just not things that generate price going up. It's been totally wrong, and all the analysts that are out there that are claiming to be crypto analysts, it's just been something that you should not pay attention to. I'm actually shocked that these guys called themselves professionals and sat here and shilled the ETF for probably about 3 months. I think it's pretty embarrassing, at least for the space, because I think everybody in the traditional finance space basically said, look, this doesn't cause the price to go up. And at the moment, it's pretty clear that there's just no new buyers. I have my own opinions in terms of how the economy is going. I'm personally of the opinion that we're pretty much in the second stage of a recession. We're getting close to everyone actually realizing it. It's unfortunate because most people haven't actually planned for it. I'm seeing tons of layoffs. I go on LinkedIn and it's pretty much it's absolutely terrible in there. No one's having fun in terms of the job market, searching for positions, and everything, especially further out on the risk curve, is basically nuking down. So, especially in terms of price, it means that, look, this week just hasn't been good, and it's not a great start out for the year. As I mentioned before, it's just something that we're all going to have to take into consideration if you're trying to trade and day trade. Keep in mind that prices can rapidly go up if the options actually position themselves that way. If everyone buys puts, obviously market makers are going to come in and buy calls. At the moment right now, the issue is everyone is in calls. So we got 68 call versus put. Calls are dominating right now. It seems like everyone was just way too excited. Taking a look at base money, again, we see here for Bitcoin, calls are dominating. A really good thing that I like to check out is coming up to the next huge options close date. I like to check the max paid price. So right now, we actually saw the price was around 41. And we're actually seeing max paid price is 41. We're at the point. I said a couple of weeks ago, or a couple of videos ago, I'd be really scared if we start hitting max paid prices. Max paid prices on Ethereum for the January 26th close, that's this Friday, that's 2,300. We are very close to that. This is exactly whenever market makers and options pricing destroys as many calls as possible. As long as they hold and keep this under 2,300, that means that most of the premiums that buyers purchased in calls are going to transfer right over to the market makers. If you're selling calls right now, it's great to be in business. I'm certainly of that camp. I have been saying for a very long time, this is a terrible market. You absolutely should not be going leverage long. If you're lucky, you're lucky. But right now, everything is pretty much on the downside. Everyone is piled into calls, and it's exactly whenever the market makers say, look, we're just going to drown these guys out, sell them out. Especially in the market, there's no buyers. So look, that's how it is. In terms of next up, I'd like to talk about the L2 wars. So the scaling has been pretty good. I have looked at Manta, and at the moment, it's currently at $1.45 billion. So on L2 beat, Manta is now the third largest layer 2. This is crazy to me. It's got a Celestia backend. It seems to be running right now. Everyone is basically funding it. And it's unfortunate that everyone has funded it because now it is currently the third largest. It is now almost double Base, which in terms of Coinbase and the system they have and the business they have, it's shocking that Manta came in and basically destroyed them and soaked up all this capital. Now, recently, there has been a lot of discussion in terms of Manta's deployment and their token generation event. Right now, a lot of people aren't exactly happy with their airdrops. I think that's just a sign of the times. The reality is, handing someone money should not automatically generate you money. I've seen some reports, and it looks like most people got a very, very small allocation in terms of what they put in. It's not typical for DeFi markets to put in a lot of money and then not get back that much, but the reality is this is kind of currently state of the art in terms of investing. I don't think that if you just give capital to a business, you deserve orders of magnitude in terms of returns on that business. It's just not real. Everyone's coming to a reality right now, and I think it's something to think about in terms of future plans if you're actually trying to farm these airdrops. I think airdrop farming is just not interesting anymore. It's been gamed. Everyone knows how it works. Everyone's going to dominate and try to make it so new users come in, but don't get too much in terms of returns. The price of the new Manta token, it's held up pretty well. It looks like it opened up around $2.35, $2.35. It's still hovering around 2.2 cents. It looks like no one's selling. At the same time, it's not something that I would necessarily trade right now. I do think it could grow. It really could. The issue is right now the fully diluted value is around $2 billion. So it's really interesting that a new project that doesn't have that many applications on it is $2 billion in fully diluted value. So if you got something out of it, great. If not, do I think holding Manta tokens is really that much worth it? I don't think so. It's just not a big 20x trade, not a huge trade at all. So let's get over to prediction markets. I wanted to do a quick rough overview here, just trying to take a look at prediction markets in general. I will talk more about the election markets. I didn't have that set up here, but here we go. So, in terms of the markets here, it looks like there's nothing going on except for elections. Prediction markets, a lot of stuff is going on, especially with the Super Bowl. There's a new Tether insolvency market. Not much money in terms of betting there. It's about $100,000, but if you're interested in that, you can go for it. I'll talk a little bit more about the political election. So New Hampshire primary is, I believe, this Monday. The question now, so if you listened to me last times I chatted, I said short Vivek. He just doesn't have enough money to continue. Monday night, he dropped out. So if you bought the no on him, you made a quick 4% in a couple of weeks. That's great. In terms of just returns on investment, earning 4% in a week is very, very good. The New Hampshire primary winner, so obviously Donald Trump is going to win. I don't see much in terms of Nikki Haley, but the play right now is whether or not Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis are going to drop out pretty soon. They are very much at this time wasting money to continue their campaigns. They're not going to get the nominee unless something drastic happens with Donald Trump. And if something does happen with him, they'll probably figure out a way to re-enter the race. So at the moment, right this second, those are the two markets that I'm actually looking at. Nikki Haley is at 3%. Gavin Newsom is at 4%. At some point, some of the players here, they're going to drop out of the race. It's just easy money. Ron DeSantis is already trading around less than 1%. So the question is, when will Nikki Haley drop out? That's the most important part here. It's probably pretty soon. I would like to see in terms of Nikki Haley, what is the Republican dropout here? Let's check out the Republican market. Democratic nominee, Republican nominee. So Nikki Haley's trading at 6%, and Ron DeSantis is at 2%. So the only trade here is shorting Nikki Haley. I don't think she's going to win the nominee, and she'll probably drop out very soon, much like Vivek. So the only issue here is if you take a look, the liquidity here is only 22,000. So in terms of depth, it's got about $12,000 worth of shares at 5% too. So if you come in with $10,000, it might be worth a shot to make a quick 5% here. So 10,000, it's about $1,000 for 10%. So 5% is around $500. If you want to wait for 6 days and make $500, it's something. If you want to invest $10,000, but unless Donald Trump falls off a cliff, there's really no way she's going to win the nominee anytime soon. And I totally expect her to also drop out. these markets are just, in terms of the elections, from what I know about them, it's very clear that they're spending money right now trying to campaign for a nominee, and they're just not going to get it. So let's move on. I think I want to go to the talking points. As I said, the Manta airdrop wasn't super great. A lot of people are annoyed with that. Next up, I want to start talking about FriendTech. The question is FriendTech dead? I think at the moment, I really loved FriendTech. I thought it was going to be awesome, but the user base is completely capped out. There hasn't been any new users in terms of cumulative for over a month now, and it's kind of sad. It's just been pretty flat. New users haven't come on. Most of the flows are outflows, and at the moment, it's just completely dead. I don't know what these guys are going to do. They have to do some sort of airdrop, generate new features. So taking a look here, 12:15. So most of the flows are just outflows. I can probably figure out a way to take a look at the direct ones, but change in TVL, I mean, that's a big sign. So it looks like January 19th, the total change in TVL in the entire platform was negative 18 ETH. So no one's even interacting with the chain right now. They're just selling out their tokens and moving on. This is pretty bad, especially for a system that was fairly highly regarded as something that could be a really, really big system. I mean, even I was someone who was really, really interested in the project. I thought SocialFi was going to be something that was interesting, could generate some kind of excitement. I just don't know what they're going to do. It's kind of tough. I think it was something that was pretty easily explainable to normies. It could be something that large-scale influencers or entertainers could have used. It's just kind of sad. I don't know what these guys are going to do. I don't want to kind of harp on sort of the management. I think a lot of people have harped on the management of FriendTech for a while. They had some really, really big partners. Maybe they come out of the ashes. Amazon came out of the ashes. They were basically completely wrecked in the, I believe, 2001 crash, and also wrecked in the 2008 crash, and they are now one of the largest companies ever. But this system really has to do something. I mean, if we're looking at 1810 ETH and it's all just leaving, that's almost nothing. So also, let's take a look at, I think the last thing I wanted to talk about, there really isn't much to talk about this week, but I wanted to talk about Y2K. It looks like they came out with the concept of turbo options, which is a very, very easy way in terms of markets for people to get some exposure with leverage. So if you're into leverage trading, I don't really recommend it. It really is a lottery ticket, but they released a system that basically names a particular price for an asset, and if it hits it, you win. It's an interesting concept. I think it's something that is not relatively novel, but could be seen as a simple way to get some exposure. I'm not exactly recommending using this product if you don't know what you're doing, because it's really easy to lose all your money with leverage, but take a look at it if you're interested in just sending out some options and getting some exposure. Maybe for some normie friends that, hey, if you don't feel super, super comfortable dumping a ton of money into crypto because you're scared of any sort of large event that moves against you, it's an easy way to just throw in $100, and the most you can lose is $100. Unfortunately, it sounds a little bit like gambling, but if you're thinking about this in terms of hedging and generating income with yields, let's say you want to allocate $5,000 to cryptocurrency, I think it's a lot better to just play weekly options on markets like these. And at the very least, you'll lose your $5,000, but that's pretty normal in terms of crypto as well, because large moves can drop you down 50, 60%, and then you're basically stuck. Whereas if you use these sorts of systems, you're able to get some exposure and your losses are capped. So at least you have a little bit of chances of reducing your losses, making sure you're not losing a ton of money. And that's basically one of the benefits of options. So happy to see Y2K came out and actually released this product. So I suppose that's it for me. I think there isn't really much going on this week. The options closing date is Friday. I don't even know if I'll make a video. It's just big Doldrums this weekend, or this winter. A lot of projects aren't really, they're basically huddled down in build mode. I'm expecting a lot more to come out over the rest of the year. And hopefully we're just not in a recession, because if these projects launch and there isn't a lot of liquidity or excitement, it's going to be kind of tough for these projects to continue. So we'll keep a lookout. Definitely make sure if you're on chain, stay safe out there and be well.